with Pesach Dvar Malchus. We'll have our dear friend Achiezer Langzam to please share with us a word from the Rebbe. Everyone, please give your undivided attention and please mute yourself if you're not muted.
All right. Shkayach Mandi, thank you to the Mahaginim. The Torah tells us that when Arna suffered a tragedy, he responded with silence because there's nothing to say. Well, what is there to say? Start giving justifications. But I'll share with you just a few inyanim that Chazal.
Chezer, I can't hear you. Am I the only one?
Yeah, no, he's on mute. Go ahead. No.
Oh, Chezer, you're on mute.
It's on mute again, Chezer.
Okay, where did I get stuck?
Yes, now.
The Gemara in Ksubis, the Gemara of Abakama says a story that when Chiya bar Abba's daughter passed away, Chachamim came to Ula and said, let's go be Menachem Avon with him. Let's go be Menachem Avon. And Ula said to them, you guys are Babylonians, you're going to go be Menachem Avon and say, all right, what can we do? It's so sad, what can we do? So what do you mean you say, what can we do? You make it sound like you're in control, and if you were in control, you'd have done something different. That's Epicurus. So Ula went by himself. And what did he say when he went by himself? Ula said, Chiya bar Abba, you know, and no, not Chiya bar Abba, to Shmuel ben Yehuda. He said that the Eibishter saved Amay and Umayyah because of two special people that were going to come from them, Rus and Nama. So if your daughter would have been special, then the Eibishter would have saved her also. And the fact that the Eibishter took your daughter early is an ayah that you wouldn't have amounted to anything anyways. Full stop. That's where the Gemara ends and moves on to another topic. The Gemara doesn't ask, what are you talking about? So the Yamshah Shleim Ataka says that the different Rosh don't bring this la'alacha. Because you're first of all, you're defeating the purpose of being an Menachem Avon, and second of all, you're not saying, are there no other reasons why somebody else passes away? Or Misasu Shel Sadikim, is this for a kapara for the generation? That's also a reason why someone passes away? According to Ula, you don't hold of that. But the Ramah paskins la'alacha like Ula. The Ramah in Yeridea says, don't go somewhere and say, don't, what can we do, whatever. He goes like, it becomes even more strange when there's another story in Ksubis that says Punt verkehrt, that Chiya bar Abba was a Melamed for Chiya bar Abba was a Melamed for Rish Lakish, the son, and Rish Lakish's son passed away. And when Chiya bar Abba came to Menachem Avon, he said that the Eibishter, he also said something along the lines that the Eibishter takes the young away because they don't behave nicely or something like that. So there the Gemara asks, what's with these people? Why can't you come be Menachem Avon like a normal person? Why does always somebody have to find fault? So the Gemara answers, no. In this case, he was saying it as a schus, saying that there was an issue in the generation and that Eibishter chose the child of a Chiya bar Abba to be a kapara for everybody else. We're saying how great he is. However, the point, however, the reason why Ula didn't hold like this is because Ula was teaching a Yesod. What was the Yesod Ula was teaching? That in every situation, it's not for us to justify this reason, that reason. Every situation has its own justification. But Ula was saying, anything that happens right away, you have to realize that it's the Eibishter's decision. Don't say, I would have done better, things would have been better off differently. The biggest Nechami says, this is what the Eibishter decided. On top of that, there's other reasons for everything. That's why the first reaction to such news is Baruch Dayanemes. You're affirming that Enechanami, we don't understand, we don't appreciate, but Dayanemes is the Eibishter. It's not neat to start judging, maybe you should have done this, maybe you should have done that. The Eibishter knows. The tefillah associated with such a situation is Kaddish, saying how great the Eibishter is. And Im Kol Zeh, with all this great reasoning, the Rebbe Taines and says, no, we can't give justification to the Eibishter. We can't start giving rationales and says, the Rebbeinu Taka knows. It's not the point. Echanami, the Rebbeinu Taka knows what's best. But we want not lonu tiftach, not tzorcha tev lonu tiftach, not that the Rebbeinu should open his great treasure for us, but rather hatoiv lonu, it should be the way we see is good. And echanami, we know that the Rebbeinu has his reasons, and everything is. But at the end of the day, it's not the plan that we want. It's not the way we see. It's not the way we find it to be toiv. The Rakud over here is, and with all that, we have to use the opportunity, like the Gemara in Suba says, it has to do with the generation. We have to use it as a wake-up call for each and every one of us to find how we can take our feelings and our reaction and use it for something better. So it's not just to be a passing moment, but make a pull and shachet. I personally didn't know Shneur for very long. I only came in Shigimel, and even then Shneur wasn't in the whole year in Shigimel. But it's one memory that I think of Shneur at least once a month, twice a month, so Farbrengen, then also I was saying Tillim. The end of Kapitel Ein Ches, one day I remember randomly in Zal, Shneur came to me. I don't even know why. I wasn't very close to him. He tells me, he says, at the end of Kapitel Ein Vav, the last pasuk says, Nechisa kitvayin abdecha b'yad meishav ha'aretz. Shneur tells me, for years I always thought the word was Natisa. Then I decided one day I'm going to actually look into Tillim and see what it says. There's Shnishkei Natisa, Gavar Nechisa. As ever since then, for the past 12 years, the Chisa, there's always a sikarin of Shneur. And the Kuda is that we have to take we have to take from this time and realize that Enochanami David knows what he's doing. David has his ways, but how is this going to affect us as a tzibur, each individual person, and us collectively? To take this opportunity to strengthen Dibuk Chavedim. First of all, that each and every one of us can rekindle and our connection with one another, and primarily to focus on davening and learning. This was a case of saying Tehillim inside, but I'm sure every one of us with our own connection or shaykhs that we had with Shneur, to find how we can tie that into our own life.
Amen, l'chaim. Thank you very much, Achiezer. And we should try to do something in his honor. A lot of things we don't understand, and I think David wants us to scream out and complain and say this is not right, but we definitely should do something to make a difference. Right now, we'd like to call upon Maishi Karbach to please share a few words.
Moshe, also on mute. We can't hear, man. Nothing's happening.
My computer says you're not on mute, so I don't know. Maybe your mic is off.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I had too much of a fancy system set up with mics and everything. My mic is not attached to the computer, so it was the wrong input. Anyway, unfortunately, I don't have a very good memory, so there's a heavy limit on what I can share. L'chaira, I should be able to share a lot from Shneur, and probably the more I talk, the more I'll just remember. I was his roommate for 2 years. I was his chavrusa, I think also for 2 years, and Shir Gimel for sure I was his in chavrusa. And I remember one day we were learning, and it was Shir Gimel, we were learning in the Zal, and I'm pretty sure it was the morning break. It was right, I believe it was right before the morning break, perhaps right after, and he gets up to leave as if he's going to grab a coffee, as if he's going to maybe brush his teeth, as we would do sometimes then. And I'm waiting 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and he just never came back. By lunch, we went to the dorm, and I think somebody was there. Maybe they saw him. To the end of the year, at least I never really found out is exactly what happened, why he had left in a hurry. I probably should have asked more, done a little bit more digging. Some people were in touch with him. I wasn't terribly in touch with him. But that was pretty much it. After that, we kind of lost touch. The following year, Paretz and I were in Kiryat Gat, and we get a call one day with a very limited Wi-Fi access on my little iPod Touch. Shneur calls us, he emails us something. He communicates basically that he was in LA and he wants to come hang out with us. So we said, okay. And now we have to explain to this Israeli mashgiach, this guy, I think his name was Kahana, what's this American doing, and the fact that he's not allowed to take away his iPhone or whatever it was. And this random bacher shows up in the yeshiva dorm and, okay, he's going to be with us for a little bit. He was with us, I think it was a couple of weeks in Kiryat Gat, maybe a month or so. I don't remember exactly. And then maybe he decided it wasn't so much for him. He returned to the States, and that was pretty much it. I think I saw him a couple of times after. I was visiting in LA once. I saw him. We met up. I think we grabbed a coffee together. That was pretty much it. The previous memories I've had from Shneur, the two things that definitely stick out were, number one, his sense of humor. Definitely a little quirky sometimes, but it was definitely there. The sense of humor was definitely there. First, it was in a quiet way, in a very, very subdued way, but I guess the more you got to know him, the more you're able to experience a sense of humor. And the second thing was his love of Nigunim. Shneur loved to sing Nigunim, and even up until somewhat recently, if I look at my last messages from Shneur, I can't say we had a lot of deep, meaningful conversations in the last couple of years, but what it was randomly a message of a voice note with just a niggin. No explanation, no words, just a niggin. And I actually enjoyed it. I'm infamously a little tone deaf, which that's a separate story, but Shneur really sang beautifully, and I actually enjoyed it. I would listen. He chose very hard-singing nigunim, very soulful, very enjoyable nigunim to listen to. So I still have that on my phone. I still keep that as a memory. I don't really have much more to add. I would love to say that I was really in touch. Of course, it's always easy to look back and say that I should have done more. I should have reached out just to say, hey, what's up? And so I'll leave you with this. I'll conclude with this, that you see this by yourself, you see this by your friends, you see this by family. And it's maybe a little cliche to say, but it's very, very true. And when a tragedy strikes, it just hits you in the face a lot more. But the truth is, life is very, very short. Life is way too short. So grab every opportunity you have, whether it's a friend, a family, somebody that you haven't spoken to in a little bit, somebody that's, even if they're living on a different side of the world, in the West Coast, the East Coast, it's irrelevant. Somebody that you've had some sort of connection to, Hashem put them there in your life. They're in your life. You are in their life for a specific reason. And sometimes you feel, you're feeling shy. You're feeling, what does this guy need my message? Why does this guy need me in my life? I'm sure he has a lot of stuff going on. He's busy, work, family, whatever it may be. I think a lesson here is life is definitely short. And when you're debating whether you should be proactive in reaching out, I think the answer is very simply that you should always do it, because perhaps you'll regret not doing so. I don't think any person will ever regret reaching out, being the friendly one, being proactive. So, l'chaim, I'll leave you just with that. L'chaim, and we should be able to see each other only on Simchas.
Amen. Thank you. Right now we're going to call upon Chaim Loshak. You wanted to share a few words?
Thank you, Mendy. I know Shneur from 4th grade, so I'm not from LA, nor is Shneur. So we both joined Cheder in 4th grade, and there was a couple of kids that joined that year, but it's kind of like the random kids that joined the class. So there was like an immediate bond between us, and Shneur and I were pretty close at that time. So I was thinking about it, and I realized we don't realize how much people mean to us, unfortunately, until these things happen. I never necessarily would have thought of Shneur at this point. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, wait, this guy plays a massive role in my life, and there's a lot I could learn from him because coming from out of town, I lived 2 hours from LA. It wasn't easy for me. And Shneur was like probably one of my closest friends in that year. And then going up throughout Cheder. And like that obviously plays a massive role. I mean, we're many years down the line right now. But Shneur was just that type of guy that like didn't take himself so seriously. Like he was friends with everyone, and it obviously meant a lot to me and to everyone in the class. And I'm gonna echo the corniness that he had, a lot of porn going on, and obviously the master at the wrist, whatever that thing's called, the wrist game. There was no one in the class that could beat him. We've tried many times. As well as I don't know if there's a tetherball court in Toronto, but there was no one who could beat him in LA at tetherball. I think the one game that I may have even got close to winning was very exciting. You could get like to the closest, like you're almost there. You almost won, but you couldn't really beat Shneur in that. So, but on a more serious note, there's obviously a lot we could learn from Shneur. And like what Maishi said a second ago, that like, you know, you need to really take it to heart that like we can't regret to reach out to people. And from Shneur himself, I just will hopefully take to heart that to not take himself so seriously, and we could all take that message and to be friends with anyone, no matter who they are or what they are. And yeah, you should hear good things.
Thank you very much.
I'm seeing the tetherball court in his backyard. Okay.
Okay. We're going to be watching a video right now.
Isaiah, the prophet of redemption, declares, "Death
Does everybody hear it?
shall be swallowed up forever, and the Lord God shall wipe the tears from every face." 30 days after the passing of his wife, Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka, the Rebbe shares personal thoughts on the subject of death and bereavement.
כל מה שבא לקדוש ברוך הוא בעולמו, ist das verbunden mit Kvede, darf sich in Druf missbeinen sein, und befragt Leiteres Abal Shem Tev, in was besteht in Druf der Hiro, Banege Eilov. Und wie bald noch jeder Ried, ist doch ein Chelik von den Jiden herum sich, bis er ein Chelik von Klal Israel, ist doch davon nicht verstandig, als wie bald das bei ein Jiden, a viele kommen leil in den nächtigen Reden, a Kotten bei Israel, bekam uns Beichus oder in beide Sachen, ist das verbunden mit jeder Jiden und mit allen Jiden, bis mit Klal Israel, bis mit Klal Israel von Kol Haderis, und wie sie seien alle Nichlal Echet und sie stehen beschorstern in Nishmas, Israel Sove von Jankewinki mevur in der Geres Akedisch, wie der Mond Echet Nächten. Und das ist sich verbunden gekommen, der hat Gosche von Baal Shem Tev, das in jeder Inyan, wo sie kommt, die Ideas von der Jiden, oder durch Reische Lei, oder viele durch Schmiersche Lei, der Jid darf sich in der Ruf missbeinen sein, was darf davon ablernen, Alachas kame wie kame, als in dem Inyan Gufo, das ein Inyan, a welches mismadgisch hat das Jid in der Liebe. Und das ist auch ein Ziel, gleich von der ersten Regel, wie der Rambam bringt das sich darauf, in der Halochis, was reden wir in Asani, Maimidu, Matzo, und danach ist das ein Ziel, Midis. Bei jeder Jeden soll das sein, darf verbunden mit Teva, Hanide, Hanigle. Und Hanide, Hanigle, Lene, Bosso, Bishas aber Mese, Siva, Shetie, trefft das bei einem von Shishim Ribu mit Israel, ist Bläser, aber das darf Peil sein Afem, ist verstandig Kechet und bepasst hat das darf Peil sein in Iten, Liebe, an ihm Zoim Svive, Alachas Kame Bekamo, die was sie sein in Krevin Milbov und Krevin Milbov am Meshes Mann. וכמדובר וגם פושט, כמדובר כמה פעמים וגם פושט. אף על פי כן, איז תרס חיים, allein mechalik, als wie was sie besteht der Ried in der Liebe, also nicht der selber Ried in der Liebe. Und sie da in der Luft Gufe Chaluke ist, und wie überloschen Halacha, der Ried in der Liebe von der ersten 3 Tage, das verbunden, das darf der bringen, Liebchi, danach kommt der Shivas Yom im Lavelus, und danach kommt der Schleichim Yom, und dann noch bis der Jahr kommt über bei Halacha, was auch Achiluk und Achiluk Kikir, al pi Halacha, zieht das der Ayit in der Liebe, was bringt ad kedekach bis zu Pchi, oder mehr nicht wie zu Ovel, was er damit sagte sich, ich Halacha, selbst das bringt dem damit tegen Pchi, darf wissen sein, dass der Hebech an Hogas Hatero, Punkt als wie die Schleicher, Jom immer Rischeni, darf das bringen dazu, ist Leachere sehr, dort das nicht bringen dazu. Allah, es kam in dem Chilik, als sie gehen durch die Shiva Jom, muss sich an die Schleichim, Allah, es kam, als sie das Ziehen von Schleichim. Wie bald aber als Echet verbunden mit Amiras Kaddish und Echet Limud Mishnayis und Maisim Tevim, Lezecher am Neshama Bechulu, was zieht sich am Meshach Shono, in der Verstandig Ademut darf Echet Nimshach werden, der Ingen von Rit in der Liebe, nur in der Beidik Sovis, das dort nicht sein, als Amin Rit in der Liebe, was soll bringen zu den Jonen, was sie werden geendigt mit Schleichim, es muss aber sein, und sie ist an die Sinas Keach auf dem, soll dann noch echt sein, denn zusammen mit den Einhalten nicht, von Schleichim, von den Minien, von Schleichim Jem, soll dem Anhalten der Ried in der Liebe, was sie verbunden mit dem Zman, mit Kufas Azman, Shiliacherise. Und danach ich mit über kam Pomim, a jeder Linien in Teiler, ich beschaße da a Linie, was nicht betewe an ihre Nigle, wie das mehr nicht will für Rega. Danach muss sein, erzählich Aliyah, bis in Leifen von Teva an ihre Nigle, wie verstand die Kirche von Jerides an Neshama Beguf, und noch mehr von Jerides von Israel Begolus, wo der noch muss der Charop kommen, die Geule Davke, in den Nishomis Begufim und in den Jonaguf und Bittel Shibut Malchis, gleich in der ersten Rege von der Geule.
Okay. I would like to ask Avremel to please say a few words.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, for the Masifta class, we had a lot of, kind of memories. You hear me?
1 second. Okay, go.
So I was saying for Masifta class specifically, I mean, or more me for sure, is that, that's when we had the most kind of interaction, the most time we spent with Shneur. We spent 3 years living in the same house, living in the same room, basically in the same zal, the same classroom. And he was always, the life of the party. You could always count on Shneur. If you needed a good laugh, if you needed a good Dave Chappelle Chazara, if you needed, he was always reliable to, give as good as he got. Whenever I needed an audience for my corny jokes, Shneur was my go-to. He was always an attentive joke receiver, always had a good humor, always had a smile on. And, there's obviously lots of good memories, from kind of Shir Aleph, Masifta, Shir Beis, Shir Gimel, as we kind of grew up and matured together in a lot of ways. So obviously he occupied a big part of that. lots of specific memories with Shneur. Obviously, you guys mentioned already his Nigunim. He was always singing and introducing, songs and, Nigunim and otherwise, singing at the top of his voice, running Seder Nigunim in the dorm, B'chulu. Always lots of fun and lots of entertainment with Shneur. Just one specific memory or occasion that I had kind of after Masifta. So there was a few times that, me and Shneur, whenever I was in LA, we would go out to eat, hang out a little, whatever, always catch up. And with him, whenever you were catching up with him, it always felt like there was no break. It could have been 2 years, 3 years since I talked to him. And we were right back where we left off. We were just buddies, hanging out, having a good time. Anyway, so one time when I was in Israel, Baruch Hashem, we had very special phone plans that we had about an hour and a half worth of talk time per month. And one time I was leaving, I was in the airport, and my flight out of Israel was like on the 2nd or the 3rd of the month, so I had a full hour and a half left. And being a bacher that didn't really want to pay for a taxi for a 4 a.m. flight, we used to go to the airport 10 p.m. and space out there for the whole night, for anybody that was in Israel. So I was there, and I had an hour and a half, on my call. It was right in the beginning of the month. So I'm bored in the airport, so who do I call? 5 a.m. in Israel. LA is 10 hours behind us. So I call Shneur. And we chatted for over an hour. Just me and him, just hanging out, just, talking, catching up, Farbrengen, talking about life. And that was kind of a really, memorable and kind of special memory that I have of Shneur, and that stays with me. And on a side note, it's nice to see a lot of old faces here on the Zoom. We should probably do this more often. For other occasions, maybe a little shishi Farbrengen here and there. With all the Yidden, we don't have to necessarily wait till someone leaves this world behind. Anyway, l'chaim l'bracha. May we share a lot of simchas and have many reasons to rejoice and partake in each other's simchas and partake in each other's lives. L'chaim.
Thank you, Avremel. Okay. Is Zalmi Frankel on yet? Okay, we'd like to call upon Beryl Grevich to please introduce a very nice initiative speaking about Avremel's idea. So, Beryl, b'chavod.
All right. First of all, just thank you to Mendy and all the people who helped arrange this.
Beryl, you have no room in your house?
I was thrown out. I want to particularly thank Rabbi Gorman and Rabbi Vechter for making the time to be here with us tonight. I know, Rabbi Vechter, you had a shir. You have a shir chassidus now. Not that I would remember that this was the time you're supposed to be in Zal, but it's very nice that you went out of your way for this, and we all really appreciate it. And it's so nice to see so many faces that practically we don't see each other that much, but like in a deep way. I feel like the friends, the people that you spend time with in Masifta, you bond with on a different level. And you feel a certain connection to, even if you don't see them as much. And I think the same could be said for Shneur. So in thinking, I'm sure all of us had similar thought processes in the last couple of days. We've all been going through our WhatsApps with Shneur and listening to those Nigunim and remembering all the all of the special times that we shared together. So just one thing that comes to mind, firstly, is something that I was thinking about, is that, we wish we would have had more time with him. We wish we would have had more of those conversations. We wish we would have picked up the phone earlier. And over the weekend, it wasn't always the best feelings thinking about, it was 6 months since the last time I spoke to him. So just on a very practical level, we should probably all, we all should be in touch with each other and with particular friends of ours who could probably use a phone call even more. That could be a beautiful way of remembering Shneur. But another thing that I was reminded of was a nice story that I heard about the Rebbe. where there was this father who lost his son, and he was very kamuv, very depressed, and the life was taken out of him, and he came to the Rebbe, and he poured his heart out before the Rebbe, about his sorrow and his plight. And when he finished, the Rebbe turned to him and said, "If I told you that your son is on an island far away, from which he cannot communicate with you, but you know that he's safe, he's secure, he's happy, how would you feel?" And the father said, I would miss my son terribly still, but I would be happy that he's happy. And then the Rebbe asked him, if you could send gifts and letters and packages to your son, would you do so? And the father said, of course. And the Rebbe smiled and said, this is exactly the situation with your child. He's in a place from which he cannot communicate, but he's very safe, he's very warm, and he's in a much happier place than he was before. And then the Rebbe continued and said that every time that you do a mitzvah, le'ilu nishmas, every time you say Kaddish, right? Every time you learn Torah, you give tzedakah, you do something in honor of your child, you're sending him a letter, you're sending him a gift, and he receives every single one, and he appreciates it greatly. He just can't respond and tell you how much. And I know this is certainly the case with Shneur. So if we're giving a gift to anybody, obviously you think about something that person would appreciate. So over the weekend, a few of us were speaking and thinking about what were things that stood out about Shneur. And obviously some of them were mentioned already. Nigunim was something that he cherished. His sense of humor was something that stood out in a profound way. But something else that I remember about Shneur, especially since Yeshiva and since we all kind of moved on with our lives, is that he would reach out to me regularly. And I'm sure the same is true for many others, and say, let's learn something, right? Or sometimes he would just WhatsApp me, Beryl, give me a good Yitas Kislev Sicha, something geschmack to learn. And I'm sitting in a car now, and I'm remembering particularly one of the last times that I spoke to him was he called me, said he wants to learn. And I said, I'm getting into a car. So he asked me, are you alone? I said, no, I'm with my wife. He's like, so ask her to drive. And you sit in the other seat. And I remember sitting in the passenger seat with a Chayesar and Beis, and we're learning and Farbrengen. He valued, no matter where he was in life, no matter what he was up to, learning Torah and specifically Chassidus was something that he cherished. And when we're thinking about what kind of gift we can give to Shneur, an idea that came up that I'd like to share the general idea with all of you, because hopefully this will be a joint gift and something we can all give Shneur. And in line with the theme that it would be so nice, like Avremel said, for all of us to see each other a little bit more often. The thought was that we all gather once a month on Zoom for a short shiur, 30 minutes, 40 minutes tops, his friends, his classmates sitting together once a month to learn something, Le'ilu Nishmas Shneur, a way of remembering him. And I think the greatest nachas he would have would be just the fact that we're all reconnecting with each other in a meaningful way. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask Achiezer, who's going to spearhead this initiative, to share a few details about this gift that we hope to share with Shneur. And Mirza Hashem, this will give him nachas, will give the Eibusher nachas, will give the Rebbe nachas, and Karav Mamish will be a Kitzu V'ran and Sheikh Ne'afar, and he'll be back to bring the life to the party. So, Achiezer, please.
Thank you, Beryl. Okay, so the basic idea, like what Beryl mentioned, is that it should be a gathering of the Chevra, like we're doing now, but in the spirit of Limud Torah, at a time that hopefully works for everyone. We don't want to, overwhelm it, so you get, burnt out, and no long-term commitment. Wait, sorry. So the idea that was suggested was once a month, on a Sunday, so one Sunday of every month. Okay? It's not going to be like the first or the second Sunday of every month. Officially, there's going to be a calendar that goes out to be able to mark your calendar already in advance. The dates are already chosen. And one Sunday of every month, the next, it's only 11 or 12 Sundays, really, until the next yard site for 1 year. And then by that time, Mashiach will already be here. For a half hour, no more, get together. Somebody will share a sicha, a vart, hopefully be one of the mashpiyim or Magid Shurim or anybody from the class. We'll worry about that at the time comes. But one Sunday a month for a half hour in the spirit of Achdus, in the Lilu Nishma Shneur, to get together, to learn, and then afterwards, want to sit around and schmooze, adrab of adrab. So, believe that there tonight or tomorrow, the dates will be going out. Mark your calendars in advance. One Sunday every month for a half hour. Bill, want to add anything?
Okay, thank you, Achiezer. I would like to call upon Shalom to say a few words.
Hey guys, L'chaim to Shneur. It's been a long time since I've seen most of you guys. The only communication I got in the past several years is when the Leafs got knocked out of the Cup last year to Montreal. So thank you to everybody here who took part in that. I was thinking about Shneur over the weekend, over Shabbos, and two things came to mind particularly. I mean, besides for everything else that everybody else already said, there's one song, it was Matisya Roots in Stereo. I remember he used to blast that song all day, all night. And I remember I cranked it up. I was just driving back from the airport now, so I cranked it up in the car, had it going. It took me back to good times there. Back in the day, running around the dorm, doing all sorts of grilling our steaks on our George Foremans and living that simple life. Shneur is always about that, having a good time. And then there was another one I was thinking about, was coming from 8th grade, my class in Toronto, no offense to you guys, but, whatever. And I remember coming into the class, meeting a whole lot of new people, and Mendy Cohen, of course, the Hulk, the beast that he is and was. Back then, I was scared of that guy, right? He definitely threw things off. And I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm not number one in that field anymore. I'm happy to play second place. And then Shneur came along, and I think someone already mentioned about his arm wrestles. And I remember going at it with him. No matter how many times I try, and I did, and I'd even try to cheat sometimes, no chance. Can never come close to Shneur. And those are just a couple things. I wasn't particularly close with him, haven't spoken to him in, I want to say, I think I actually looked at my phone just now, and last time he messaged me was 6 years ago. That was the last conversation. So it's been a long time, but he was a special man, and I just want to share those memories and a little Chaim to him. And Chaim, guys.
Chaim.
Thank you, Shalom. I hope you're not that much intimidated by me.
I don't know, man. Those first few weeks when I saw you break the lock with your hands, that was it. Don't forget it.
Okay, we'd like to call upon Parrot to please. You ready, or you want to please?
I'm ready. Whatever's on the schedule.
I'd like to call upon Parrot to please say a few words and share a few ideas.
So first of all, like everyone said, it's nice to see everyone, even though it's under these unfortunate circumstances. But it should happen more often, and I'm very excited for the hachlata that hopefully everybody will join in. That we'll learn together once a month. So just like everybody was thinking about Shneur, I was also thinking about Shneur a little bit. So on and off, we were very, very close in Masifta. Shir Aleph, Shir Beis. I remember the first time I met him. I think he was part of the crew that came from YSP that had to leave in the middle of the grand trip, if I'm not mistaken. I just remember seeing him the first time when I came into the dorm. I didn't know him really before that. That was my first introduction to him. But we became very, very close over Masifta. I remember in Shir Aleph, so I had a very rough patch in the beginning. I wanted to leave until Hanukkah time. I almost left. And to help me cope, so me and Shneur decided that every night we're going to do something else in Toronto. We're going to do something else. We're going to find something to do outside of yeshiva so that we have, so we can function. And so I remember there was like a yogurt store then on Bathurst between yeshiva and the dorm on Strathallenwood. So we went to the ice cream store one night, and then I think then the store was Dominion. went to Dominion. Every night we used to do something else. So we really bonded in Mesivta. And I was thinking about something we can learn from Shneur. And what came to mind is, there was a famous chassid by the name of, I think 2 or 3 Hayom Yems about him. Yikosia Lepler. And what's unique about him was that, I don't want to say anything. In a certain way, he was inconsistent, which meant, in Nigla, he barely knew how to read. I mean, he started off not knowing, he barely knew how to read, how to say Tillim or whatever it was. In Nigla, I think till the end of his life, he didn't know how to learn a piece of Gemara. But when it came to Chassidus, all of a sudden, the Mittler Rebbe wrote one of the deepest Svarim of Chassidus, especially for him. He had like highs and lows. When he was inspired, he would grab the mailman in the street and dance with him. Then he had his lows. There's a lot of different stories about him, but his lows didn't take away from his highs, which meant that, in other words, he was the best. When it came to Chassidus, there was nobody that was a bigger philosopher than him, that understood any better than him. And I was thinking about Shneur, and 2 memories came to mind. First of all, when we were in Shir Aleph Mesivta, so we learned, first Shul Goldstein taught us, and Katzman taught us, but we learned for Girsa Mesechtas Megillah. And there was a mitzvah to learn Mesechtas Megillah by heart. Not a big Mesechta, it's 32 blot. Anyway, I guess we started, but obviously we fell off the wagon. We had no patience. And I think a day before the deadline, Shneur woke up that we have to do it. So we were like 15 blocks behind, but we woke up like at 3 a.m. and we sat down by the 2 benches on Bathurst outside of Yeshiva. And we went through like 10 or 15 blocks it was like a whole night straight. It could be we didn't even go to sleep. I just remember sitting there. It was already light outside. And we were sitting there just going through the Masechta. Just because Shneur got us, we have to do it. And I remember another memory, Rabbi Asta used to make us learn the Haftarahs in Shir Aleph. The Haftarah of the week for whatever reason. And one week Shneur decided he liked the Haftarah and he has to learn the whole Haftarah by heart, word for word. And Shneur had an unbelievable memory. And for years later, he would sit and quote psukim. Once in a while, he would shoot me a text psukim from this random Haftarah. Hashem Ma'uzi, he would throw me random text psukim from it. He had a crazy memory. But Shneur would have these inspirations, and it didn't matter what was before, what was that. When he had an inspiration, you couldn't stop him. He would go and he would do it all the way. That's something that I really felt from, even till recently. So, I mean, the last back and forth I had with him was Pesach time. But on and off in the past 3-4 years, Shneur, it was difficult for him, to hold something steady and to get it together, but he always tried. He always tried again. It didn't matter. Like Maishi Kabach mentioned, so when we were in Israel, he was already out of yeshiva for over a year. I didn't know what was going on with him, and then we were emailing. We didn't have phones or anything. We were emailing back. When I told him, come to Israel for 2 weeks. And he came. He showed up, and we had no idea what to do. He was just there. He wasn't part of the yeshiva. We were in the middle of our routine, and Shneur Groden landed in the yeshiva. He really, really wanted to come back, and he said it. He hung out for 2 weeks, and then he left. And then when we were in Montreal a couple of years later, again, me and Beryl worked. We had to convince the Anhala that we have a friend from California. Wasn't in yeshiva a couple of years, but he should come join us in Montreal. And somehow we made it happen. He parked in Montreal for 2 months. He used to show up to Zal randomly, come let's learn a piece of Gemara. Like he really, it didn't matter where he was coming from, what the low was, but he always wanted to come back and have the high. And it was the same thing. He always, in the past couple of years, even after the yeshiva days, after that stage, he was always looking to, he went through one job, it didn't work out. Let's get to something else. He really, really wanted to. It was very hard for him to commit to something, but he really he really wanted to. And I think the lesson that we can learn from him is it doesn't matter what happened yesterday or the day before, but when you're in a good place, you have to seize it and put yourself all into it, which is really, really, that's the idea of Der Shvi that the Rebbe spoke about so much of Farbrengen. Doesn't matter what you did yesterday, it doesn't matter what you did in the morning. If you're feeling good, if you're inspired, do it, sit, learn, do it all the way. And I think that was Shneur.
Amen. Thank you very much.
I'd
like to call upon our dear Maggid Chair, Rabbi
Mendy. I need to go. I'm leaving.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm leaving. All right. I'm not gonna say anything. I'll send a voice note to the class WhatsApp.
Okay, good idea.
All right.
I'd like to call upon our Maggid Share, Rabbi Gorman, to please share a few words.
It's great to see everybody gathered together. Shevasachim Yam Yochad is nothing better than that. And we gathered together for an occasion which is memory of a good friend. And there's no words to speak about when it comes to the loss of a good friend. But it underscores, as everyone says and has said, that to capitalize on every moment that we have, to utilize the moments that we have to be able to continue friendships, build friendships, and the initiative that you guys have set up for once a month learning is tremendous, is great. And just to share a small thought, we know that Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, and the neshama of a person is compared to a light, to a candle. We know that candle only burns for as long as the wick and the oil is there to fuel the flame. But we have an opportunity to share our flame, share our warmth, share our friendship. And at the same time, it's imperative on each and every one of us to not just keep our flame for ourselves, but the way we extend our flame is by sharing our flame with another. And the more flames we kindle, the larger and greater is our flame and our highest that we're given. So I'm honored to be here together with everyone together, and I'm honored and I'll enjoy joining in with a monthly share. And once again, Yashakar for all those who pulled this meeting together, and wish each and every one of you tremendous hatzlacha in all that you do.
Okay, thank you very much, Rabbi Gorman. I'd like to call upon Zalman Frankel to please share a few words.
Thank you so much, first of all, for arranging this. Just wanted to share something short. I was close with Shneur way back in the period. We haven't been in touch much since then. Probably once a year or twice a year at most. But recently, a couple months ago, I just got this voice note from him. Out of the blue, reaching out to me with like chizuk, with a niggin, with brachis, and it was just it really shows you who Shneur is. Shneur was, Shneur is. What we could learn from that, from him, reaching out to people, having a good energy, and sharing that with others.
Okay, thank you for that. I'd like to call upon Fitter Shabtai to please share a few words.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Thanks, Shmuley, for inviting me to this. Shneur and I were good friends. I preferred a small Dvar, and like I had a couple of stories, but I feel Shneur used to live his life with Sino. So I'm going to share one story, and then maybe a little Dvar, and then we were in Montreal camp. We were in Cheder a lot of years. We were in Montreal camp. And there was one year where during the first month in Montreal camp, there was one boy who felt that he didn't belong in the bunk. So Shneur told me, we need to go talk to this boy. We need to tell him that he is accepted and he is loved and he is. And he convinced me to do the talking, but it was really all him. He told me what to say to this guy. And the head counselor got involved and the counselor got involved. But eventually, we spoke to this boy before all of that happened, and the boy decided to stay in the bunk. And it reminded me of a part that I heard from Reb Leivik, Jarba's father, Zatzal, said that by Noach, what happened when Hashem told him he's going to destroy the whole world? Okay, I'm going to build a teva. But by Avram Avinu starts arguing with Hashem. So Avram Avinu, so Reb Leivik asks, I guess, like, how are you going to argue with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So Reb Leivik says basically it's not really an argument. It's more of a dialogue. By Noach, he tells Noach, we're going to argue with you. Noach says, I'm not going to argue with you. And it's not even like a discussion. But by Amanig Yisrael, it's like, how is it even a possibility that you're going to destroy the people? You're going to go fight for them. And I think it's really something of like Avas Yisrael. Shneur always had Avas Yisrael. And I have a few other stories. I know that he did things quietly, and I don't know if it's, I know like monetarily and other ways he did things for people. I don't think it's respectful. You guys should just know, all of you listening, that Shneur was a big eye of Israel, and he did things quietly, the things that he did, and he did things in a big way, and he went out of his way, even out of his financial zone, to help people. We should just, I guess I would just say, like, we should all learn to help people in a quiet way, the way Shneur did. He did things with Sino.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. Something I just wanted to add, just my personal experience. Shneur, as everyone knows, everyone's communication with him in the past few years probably associated with Nigunim, but overall throughout the time, he was always had this like sensitivity, like by Farbrengen, by Nigunim. He always wanted to sing the Paltavanigin and other Nigunim that he was like very into. Either way, he always had like a Edel Neshama deep down. I remember when he came to Montreal after, and we got on hold, we got him to stay, and he stayed with us. We should Farbrengen with him, and he had like he was like the real deal, and he really had a very special sensitivity deep down to Chassidishkeit and Yiddishkeit. With this, I would like to call upon his Meshimas on, or he left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I would like to call upon Rabbi Vechter to please share a few words, Farbrengen, with the Chevra, and bring us back to the good old times. Sorry. Sorry, just 1 second. If anybody, sorry, Rebecca, someone just texted me. If anybody wants to share anything right now before Rebecca speaks, please let me know. Now is the time. Feel free to just unmute yourself and start talking. Sorry, Rebecca. Someone just asked if anybody wants to speak. Let me know. Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, I guess not. Parrots doesn't work. Okay, Rabbi Vector, please. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Okay. Zu viel Englisch the last 12 years. Habe ich gelernt. Also wir lernen Yiddish. I hope it's okay.
Ja, sicher.
Okay. I wish after 12 years we can't sitzen für viele Sachen. But I guess der habe ich gewollt anders und darf das mit Kabel sein, wer das ist. So da Wort von der Rebbe, it's actually Tofshin Yud, Pasha Schlag. Und der Rebbe gesagt, dass in Birkas HaChodesh, man sagt L'chaim und L'sholem, der Olam sagt Amen, L'sosim und L'simcha, der Olam sagt Amen, und dann man sagt L'ishul und L'chama. Und der Chazan sagt, V'neimar Amen. Der Rebbe gesagt, für was darf die Ishul und L'chama, der Chazan sagt, V'neimar Amen. Sie darf haben eine spezielle Sinas Koyach, sagen Amen. L'sosim und L'simcha, no problem. L'chaim und L'sholem, no problem. Und L'ishul und L'chama, V'neimar Amen. Das ist eine spezielle Sinas Koyach. Und der Rebbe gesagt, dass Ishul und L'chama kommt noch eine schwere Zeit. Und wenn noch eine schwere Zeit, sie sagt sich nicht kein Amen. Es ist schwer. Und man darf noch eine Sinas Koyach, darf man speziell Sinas Koyach, sagen Amen. Da wird es mit Kasche gewöhnt zu die Status von der Friedrich Rebbe, Jud Schwarz. Also sie sagt sich nicht kein Amen, zu lieb die Stalkus. Man darf noch speziell Sinas Koyach, soll können sagen Amen. Also ich guess noch die ganze Meise mit Shneur, jeder einer bei uns darf haben eine Sinas Koyach, sie sagt sich nicht genommen, es ist schwer, we lost a friend, habe von Klaas, ich habe ihm gesagt, Edel in der Schome, und sie sagt sich nicht genommen. Und von zweitens, wir haben eine Sinas Koyach so genommen, because wir haben eine Sinas Koyach von der Letters von der Rebbe, von Chassidus, und alle Sachen, was man hat. Actually, mein erste Memory von Shneur ist aufgewöhnt, als gewöhnt in Shiur Aleph, nicht in Shiur Gimel. In Shiur Aleph, ich denke, wenn es gewöhnt in Psa Shabbos, was Shneur gesagt hat, Maimer. Und gesagt hat Maimer in Yiddish. Rabbi Berkowitz hat gesitzt mit ihm und ich habe ihm geholfen, sagen der Maimer in Yiddish. Ich habe nicht gewusst, was ist sein Name. Mishum Mai, ich habe gemeint, dass sein Name ist Groden. Und ich gesagt, der Maimer ist sehr gut in Yiddish. I remember, after the Maimer, ich zu Rabbi Asa, I asked him, welche Groden ist das? Ich bin sicher, als Enikel von Jechen Groden. Ich habe nicht gewusst, welche Groden. Rabbi Asa hat ihm gegeben lachen. Ich sage, no, it's not Groden. Okay, das ist mein erster Memory von Shneur. Sagen am Maimer, in Reihe in Yiddish, sagen das gut, klar. Der Credits für Rabbi Berkowitz hat reingelegt in ihm. Und das ist meine erste Memory von Shneur, da aufgewöhnt als gewöhnt in Shiur Aleph. Aber Tage, eine von den Sachen, was Tage immer gesehen bei Shneur, ich hatte also wie eine Sache, ich bin nicht gewöhnt in touch with him the last few years, aber ich bin ja gewöhnt in touch with him noch Shiur Gimel, ein paar Mal. Shneur ist gewöhnt so dann der Yom, der Rebbe sagt, wenn man Shoyel, wenn man ist Kashrus. Shneur ist gewinn ein Sache, was ich gedenkt von ihm, gewinn ein Mevakisch. Allemal gesucht. Es ist nicht gar welche Kufe, was ist gewinn, welche Matze Vruchni, Peretz Menschen, Christian Lepler, Alias, wie Ridas. Allemal Peretz hat gesucht. Die ganze Tumor von der Nigen, also du suchst etwas, das ist die ganze Sache von der Nigen. Und nicht ganz scheile, was ihr gedenkt von Shneur, muss da mal andere, ich gedenken das, muss da mal besser. Shneur gewinnt an Neshome, interessant in Neshome, es allemal gesucht etwas. Ich habe da Monen da, Einmal gesucht, hab Chizuk, hab Maimer und lernt mit mir, hab Nigen. Einmal gesucht, einmal gefragt. Also, bemasche Scheuel bei ist Kaschus, als eine von der Kudas, Wachait in Liboy, was öfter wir können lernen, ist bemasche Scheuel, also man darf allemal suchen. Also hier darf allemal suchen mehr. Auf jeden Fall sind a low Matze Beruchnies und Benefesh, nicht einmal Punkt, wer soll, ich sehe up and down, nicht einmal geht, wer soll man will soll gehen. Aber allemal, man verliert nicht die Kuda von Suchen etwas. Das heißt, wir können sagen, auf schnell eine Sache, was ich gedenke, nicht sehr andere Chaverim, da man das sagt, die Kuda ist allemal gesucht etwas. Ich bin eine Scham, was gesucht, aber gar man Menschen näher wein nicht mehr so da. Es steht in der Kude von Neer, also Neer allemal Schockelsach. Steht nicht auf einen Platz. Schnell ist gewinn an Neer, dann ist schon allemal gesucht. Einmal gab Gila eine Schomme, was dann schon gesehen, Schockelsach gesucht. Auf jeden Fall ist gewinn nicht nur der beste Matzev, hat allemal gesucht. I remember a few phone calls after Shir Gimel von Shneur, mit einmal, also wie die Chaverim sagen, mit einmal ruft, ob sie mitten am Tag, ob sie nigen oder ob sie Wort, like mitten am Poste Mittwoch, von wo gekallt, kann sein gekallt von, ich weiß nicht wo, aber etwas seine schon mal geleuchten und gesucht etwas. Und das ist etwas, was sehr stark, wir gesehen bei Shneur, wir gesehen die Nekude allemal. Das ist eine Kude. Noch eine Kude, Moishi Menschen, Moishikadebach Menschen, als der Life is short. Geht ein bisschen reingelegt in Moroschere. Aber I maybe agree with them, aber maybe in mehr a positive Weg. Das ist true, das ist der Metzias, der Life is short. Aber ich hätte in a positive Weg, was Berlo Damont, der Wort von der Rebbe, wenn man tut etwas am Mitzvah von der Neshama, schickt ihm a present. Du schickst ihm a present. Du kannst ihm etwas geben, was hat nicht. So da in Elam Hase Sachen, was Lemaila nicht da. An Neshama geht Lemaila, und ist in Ganeden, und chalisch Tona Mitzvah, und kann nicht. Die Teierkeit für Tona Mitzvah, den Neshama hat nicht Lemaila. Und wenn Chaver da Lamata tut a Mitzvah, l'schusoi, Leilu Nishmose, l'schusoi, du schickst ihm a present, was du machst ihm happy, was kann nicht bekommen, das in einem anderen Platz. Also wie Beldamont, das Wort von der Rebbe, in einer Island. Imagine in einer Island, du schickst ihm einen Computer, du schickst ihm, weiß nicht was, eine gewisse Meichel, was kann nicht stoppen in der Island. Also jeder eine, was in Ganeden ist, in einer Island, was da Sachen, was man kann nicht bekommen dort. Da Sachen, was da neu in Elam Hase. Und dies ist schon eine Kude, was man darf appreciate jeder Tag, was man hat. Nicht darf kein negativ Weg, aber echt in einer positive Weg. Das Schuss, was man hat, da in Elam Hase, Tona Mitzvah, Tona gute Sache. Und schaust, haben wir Wort, was Chassidim am Gefleck sagen, steht allemal in Yoffe, Sha'achas, Tshuva, Meisim Tevim, Beilam Hazem, Mikol Chaylam Abo. Das ist ein Geschmack, Machshove, was man kann trachten auf dem, als steht, dass ein Show, Yisurim in Gehennem, ist schwerer von der alle Yisurim in Elam Hase. Also steht, usually, if you ask a person, you have two options. Oben Yisurim for a long time, but a little bit less. Oder oben für 1-2 Minuten, sehr, sehr stark, aber nachdem ist over, geh rüber. Welche Menschen wird choosen, you know what, lass das machen schnell. Mach mir das an, stech 1 Minute, es mir sehr wehton, but then I be okay. Aber Thomas sagt nicht das sei. Es ist besser, die Yisurim da von ein Schof in Gehennem. Because Gehennem is so bad, es ist besser da alle Yisurim. Was steht? Now, lassen wir das nehmen ein Step weiter. Es steht, als da alle Yisurim von Gehennem ist Kidai sein in Olam haben Ganeden für ein Schof. Also steht. Das mit die Yisurim von Gehennem ist Meshuga. Also Mensch ist Kidai für Leiden Olam Hase für years. Aber nicht oben ein Schof Yisurim in Gehennem. Und sagen, dass es Kidai da alle Yisurim in Gehennem zu lieber oben ein Schof in Ganeden. Aber dann man sagt, es ist ein Meise Toi, was man tut in der Mahase, ist besser von Kol Chaya Elam Abo. So was von Chassidim. Imagine, was mit dem tut am Mitzvah, wie viel Teier ist das? If you make the Cheshbon, als ein Schoen Gehennem ist Ärger von alle Yisurim in der Mahase. Und sie Kidai gehen in Gehennem zu sein ein Schoen Ganeden. Und dann bin sagt, als ein Meise, was man tut in der Mahase, ist besser mikol chaya elam haba. Als was meint, wenn man tut, jede Mitzvah, was man tut, jede Meise Toi, was man tut, wie viel teuer ist das, was man das kostet das? Sei, was man tut das für Chave, also wie bei Menschen, a matone, what you could give. Und sei, für uns, wie viel ist teuer jede Sache, was man tut da in Olam Hazeh. Das ist eine Machshove, was man kann nehmen. Das, by the way, ist da eine Meise, kann ich da eine Meise, als sie gewinnen einmal eine Gruppe von Jiden, was im gewinnen Shabbos in Miron. Und sie gewinnen dort ein Lubavitcher Chossid, einer von den Sassonkin, chassidische Jid, was echt gewinnen dort ein Shabbos. Also, you want join the group, gewollt essen mit sie, sein mit dem Minyan, v'chulu. Also, sie haben gesagt, no problem, aber sie haben gewusst, dass Lubavitcher, sie haben gesagt, betnai, also es ist nicht alle im Reden, Chassidus, Chabad, we can't trust Lubavitcher, sie kommen zu einem Platz, sie nehmen Control of the ganze crowd. As you're more from welcome, aber be quiet the whole Shabbos. It's okay, no problem. Adil. Ich will nicht sagen, gar nicht die ganze Shabbos. Dann, inmitten des Sude, sie haben angeheben singen, inmitten des Sude in Shabbos Day, sie haben angeheben singen an Nigen. So da ist ein weltischer Song, als Olam Habo ist eine gute Sache. Ja, Olam Habo ist eine gute Sache, ja. A famous song. Als alle der ganze Olam gesingt, Olam Habo ist eine gute Sache. Mit einmal, slowly, hat angeheben singen für sich allein, aber gemacht sich als alle Herren, angeheben singen dieselbe Sache, aber ein bisschen andere Wörter. Angeheben singen, Olam Habo ist eine gute Sache. Like, und alle gucken auf ihn und sagen, what do you mean? What mit Olam Habo ist eine gute Sache? The song, you're wrong. The song geht, als Olam Habo ist eine gute Sache, not Olam Habo ist eine gute Sache. Explain why you say that. Sie gesagt, we make a deal. Ich kann nicht sagen gar nichts. Sie gesagt, ich kann nicht sagen, Chassidus, nothing, quiet. But you know what? It's okay. You could explain. No problem, no deal. Also dann geben, also ich will Lubavitcher, dann geben Farbrengen auf der Meile, was sie da in Olam Hazeh. Und darf in Olam Hazeh, Yofe Shachas, Betshuma ist im Teuvim bei Olam Hazeh, Mikol Chai Olam Habo. Und dann hat verbrennt, obviously, bis Motzei Shabbos, auf das Chus, was man da darf, jeder Tag, was man da in Olam Hazeh, was man kann auftun, was man kann nicht tun in Gan Eden, was man kann nicht tun das, man hat es nur in Olam Hazeh, dies Chus. Also, eine von den Machshavas, die ganze Meise ist, also was uns darf man lernen, ist, kurz von dem, also eben mit dem Mond, als man darf, jede Meise, der Schir, was beautiful idea, machen ein Schir, because das, was man kann tun, das, was Chaverim können tun, man schickt ihm eine Tonne, was sie kann nicht haben dort. Jede Mitzvah, jede Pule, kann nicht haben in Olam Habo. Aber es ist echt ein Chizuk für uns, derweil, wenn wir es da, Shiva wird kommen, mit seinem Chaim Nitzchim, aber derweil, wenn wir es da, jeder Tag, was man hat, das ist das Chus, was man hat, in jeder Mitzvah, in jeder Pule, was man tut, was Yofe Shachas, Betshuma ist im Teuvim bei Olam Hazeh, Mikol Chai Olam Habo. Also, da muss noch ein Meise, und sie gewinnen Salman Morozov in Montreal, Mandy Cohen ist von Montreal, right, Mandy? Also ich bin halt noch Chassid Salman Morozov. Also ich habe jetzt eine interessante Sache. I used to say a lot of time in Farbrengen, als bei Chassidim, wenn einer gestorben, wird nicht gemacht von dem a big deal. Es ist like, a gefleckt so, it's like a house would have 2 floors. And someone go from the erste floor to the second floor. What's the big deal? He go to the second floor. As he used to say, but when someone pass away, it's a big deal. He go to the second floor. He's there. Wird nicht disappear. He geht zu der zweite Floor. Then, Salman Morozov, bis auf Yom, wie have a stroke. Und hat nicht gekannt reden. Als 2 von der Bochum, die gewinnen größer Mekablim sein, gegangen versuchen ihm. Und sie ask Salman Morozov, Salman, you remember, wenn uns gesagt, als ich nicht gemacht habe, big deal, ob ein Mensch pass away, Kilos, you go to the andere Stock, also gemacht mit dem Kopf, ja, man kann nicht reden, remember. Dann sind wir gefragt, du still meinst das so? Du meinst das so echt jetzt? Also gemacht mit dem Kopf, Kilo, nein. Sagt du willst leben? Sagt, also mit dem Kopf, ja. Also, I guess I gekommen zu, es ist euch der MS, aber du kommst an meinem Domatze beim Leben, wo you appreciate, was meint, As Yofe Sha'achas B'tshuva, Maisim Tovim Ba'olam Hazeh, Mikol Chai Olam Haboin. Das was man hat nur da. Und das wird nicht, was Moshe gesagt, life is short, was ist true. Aber euch hat in a positive weg, because jeder Tag was man hat is amazing was man kann tun da. Jeder Mitzvah, jeder Pula, we're not pushing that enough, it's true. This is why we have Chassidus. Menschen als schnell got a Geschmack in a Nigen, a Geschmack in Chassidus. Every day, every mitzvah, every nikude was more than Elam Hazeh, we can't have later. As this is a moyedike chizuk, what we could have Dafkin Elam Hazeh. Everyone is the Tzanzer gesagt, the Tzanzer Rebbe lost 11 kids in the Holocaust. 11 kids is crazy lost. Verloren 11 Kinder. As he said, gesagt Geschmack, a starke Wort. Gesagt, ich weiß, wenn ich will kommen le Mailo, David wird mir geben Emphasis auf mein alle Scheiles. Why this is happening? I'm sure David wird Emphasis auf mein Scheiles. But I'm rather to stay here in Elam Hazeh mit the Scheiles von gehen Oven und bekommen Emphasis. Okay, I know I will come in Elam Haba, David should go alle Scheiles sind verämpft. But I won't stay here in Elam Hazeh because every day, was ich kann tun da, ich kann nicht bekommen das le Mailo. Also ich gesagt, als the Nekude is, was man darf appreciate every day what we have and every hour was man out lernen Gemorre und lernen Chassidus und lernen Siche und alle gute Sachen, was man kann tun, darf kein Elam Hazeh. Und der Rebbe mentioned, the last years, the Rebbe used to say a lot, als der Schwere gesagt, als jeder Ried ist ein Schliach. As you know, alle, der ganze klar, no Baruch Hashem, einer sind Schliches und einer sind Askones und einer sind Business. It's moyedig. Jeder einer, der Eibishter schickt ihm Hashem mit Zolei Gover. Aber was, der Rebbe gementioned the last few years, man darf gedenken, als jeder Ried ist ein Schliach. Es ist nicht egal, was du tust in dein Leben. Kann sein ein Business, das kann sein, was du tust, du hast das Schliches von der Eibishter Tondos. Also L'chaim, wir soll Tage treffen sich noch auf Simches. Der Rebbe sagt das Sachmal, in der Loschen von Amokim Menachem, sagt, bei Sheikh Shari, Evlei Zin, in Yerushalayim, der Rebbe hat ein Podium, bei einer von denen der Rebbe sagt, was ist der Kesher? Also wie ist mir sicher, als Moshe wird kommen, ziehen in Yerushalayim, bis Amigdus wird geboren werden. Also Amokim Menachem, sicher, man sagt zu der Ovel, Amokim Menachem, also wie bei Amigdus, 100% im Mitzvah Hashem, sie wird sein Geburt geworden. Selbe Sache, man sagt zu der Ovel, also 100% im Mitzvah Hashem, Moshiach wird kommen bald und wir sein Tchias Amesim. Also der Eibishter der helfen Tag bei Kol Mames, so sein Vakitze Verano Shechni Yofor, wo beseichem Shneur mit Allemen, und man soll Poshet share only good news, was der Rebbe allemal sagt, betuva nir vaniglen, nicht davon ankommen zu der Eibishter, also nicht testen unsere Emune, und wir sind weiter auf die Test, und man soll Poshet sein, nur gut, betuva nir vaniglen, man soll sich treffen Tag nur in fehlige Sachen, man soll appreciate every day, was der Eibishter geht, kol Neshima, kol Mitzvah, und jeder Tag, was man da darf kein Elam Hazeh, und Elam Hazeh ist eine gute Sache, das ist true, aber gedenken, dass Elam Hazeh ist noch besser. Elam Hazeh ist noch eine bessere Sache, because darf da, man kann tun, damit es sein noch gute Psuras, und es sein Dike, because Moshiach now. Chaim.
Amen, l'chaim. Before we continue this Farbrengen until 4 in the morning, Maishi must ask to speak. Maishi would like to say a few words. Maishi. Okay, is there anybody else want to say a few words before we continue? Okay, Rabbi Wachter, you like to bring more? Do you want to?
No, das ist for the class, und dann ist ein besserer Job.
Okay, good. Okay, so thank you very much, Rabbi Wachter. Now it's going to turn into an informal, up until now it's formal, that's going to be internal reminiscing and bullshoving and talking about whatever you want to talk about.
You're going to stay from Utah. The Shliach from Utah is going to take charge.
The Shliach from Utah. Just everything should be Lili Nishmas. What's his name? Shneur Zalman Ben what? Anybody?
Yosef Moshe.
What?
Yosef Moshe.
Yitzchak Moshe?
Yosef Moshe.
Shneir Ben Yosef Moshe, Neshama should have an aliyah, and we should only have good news from now on. And thank you for coming. And this is the informal part. So, hi. Everyone, please unmute yourself if you like. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you once again. I'd like to thank Peretz Kaplan, Belgrevich, Shmuley Lisbon, Achiezer Langzam,
Mendy Cohen,
Achiezer Langzam, Belgrevich, Peretz Kaplan, Shmuley Lisbon, for making this happen. And it would not be able to happen without these guys. So, shkayach, and please make sure to put into the dates the upcoming shiur. We're going to do it once a month. We specifically did it put it in the dates, so this way it actually happens. It's not something that we just want to talk about. It's actually going to take place, as well as Peretz Kaplan put together this form. You can please make sure to take a mishnayos to be finished by the shleishim. You have a few days to do it. Just please do it right now and actually do it, and don't forget, because Peretz is going to be on your case to make sure you get it done.
You have an invite to everyone?
An invite for what?
For the next class or the next time we get together?
Yeah, Achiezer Langzam is going to put on the group it's a calendar invite, and you're able to have it. The next class date, I could give it to you, is going to be, Achiezer, you can chime in if you like.
Yeah, to see what I wrote down.
I was going to say the Bobby Pin story, the Nishmas Shneur. Shalom Meyer, you got to step up and play.
One second, Achiezer, say the date.
I gotta find
25th of Tammuz is going to be the next one. Chafei Tammuz.
Bobby Pin story.
Chafei Tammuz, correct.
Chafei Tammuz is going to be the next class.
Peretz, halt zich in deze.
Now that the teachers went off, we can get to the exciting part.
How's the real juice?
You have to stop recording already.
How do you unmute everybody?
Just an observation about Shneur, just something quick. I guess since the beginning, from knowing him, if you remember through the yeshiva years, I never recall him complaining about anything. Like sometimes, let's say Sunday, there was like every Sunday we had 5 tests at a time. A lot of people would be complaining, Shabbos off, this, not enough, too much, too little. I don't ever kind of recall him complaining. And then for better or for worse, it was kind of, hard on everybody because he wouldn't always share that much information. So, like for the last few years, I actually had the honor to, when I was living in Seattle, he came, I got him to come twice for Shabbos, tried getting him to come to Houston, didn't work out, he's always pushing it off. But part of the thing is that he never put his troubles on other people. He didn't want to burden everybody. He just kind of kept it to himself. And like I said, for better or for worse, that was the case. So, I mean, just something interesting that I'm going to learn from it is to always not blame other people for your problems or always look to deflect. It's just kind of be a happier person and not complain as much. Like he really, I don't recall him ever complaining. Like going in Masifta, always had complaints. The food, the dorm, I don't remember him complaining much. So especially, like I got to see him, 2 years ago, like trying to. Yeah, he just never said anything bad or negative. Everything's good. We, just like everyone's saying, he just got into the kumsitz and there was no problems. So that's just an observation. Cheers.
Okay.
David we're gonna miss your complaints.
Oh, jinx, bro. David, we want to hear you talk. We didn't hear your voice in so long. What's up, man? Say something.
Talking to me?
Yeah, David Shomer.
Oh,
David, I think Shneur will get a kick out of a kukuriko. Shiva.
Hi guys, I'm going. See you later. No. What's up, guys?
David, inspired Ayla.
Come on, Dave. Let's hear it.
Am I the only one that was listening to David the last 3 days? the original songs.
So crazy how so many years later we're all in different places in the world. We haven't spoken to each other, but it's pretty cool. We're all like getting back together. It's like, hey man, nice beard, you know?
Who said it tonight? Masifta, there's a different connection. The Masifta years of connection. Beryl, I think you said that.
It's so true. I consider my real friends the Masifta friends. Other friends are like, okay, they're friends, but it's very true.
The real bond.
Mandy, you didn't have any friends in Masifta, please.
Oh, come on, be nice. Can't tell us all their secrets.
Were you
Shneur's roommate at Rimmel? No.
What?
Were you Shneur's roommate?
No. It was.
I was trying to remember. Where did
it was me,
where did Shneur
Ellie
sleep?
Brafman, and Shneur Groden on the top floor.
The grilled cheese sandwiches.
In Shur Aleph.
Where did Shneur sleep in Shabazz and Gimel?
We
Shirbezi was with me on the first floor on the
first door on the right, right?
Yeah, Shur Gimel was just me and him. We were down in the basement.
When was that?
Oh, Ramella, what's up?
How you doing?
Yo, what's cracking?
Oh, he's a very official accountant, by the way, just for the record. You guys want your
CPA in the house, huh? CPA, huh?
He's also a Dayan. Wait, not to push it.
Well,
you're a Dayan, no? Yeah.
Really?
I have the honest. Listen, you guys have
The Dayan and a CPA? That's one heck of a skill set.
Hey, which means if your taxes are not in order, you're in real trouble.
And if you didn't get refunds from the government, you just talk to David Shomer about that, and maybe he can help you. Maybe tell us. Oh, sorry, Mendel's Osman. Is Mendel, are you doing that still or no? You are.
Yep.
You guys still talk to each other?
Who?
David Shomer and Mendel's Osman?
We see each other every day.
Not every day, thank God.
I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the love.
Of course. Well, David, I just was with your brother for Shabbos. What's his name? Yisrael.
I know, he tells me he's a mashkiach for you.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem. Shneur Brook, how are you, Shneur?
He just had a baby.
You're shliach in Connecticut, right? Anyways, he's davening or something. He's doing some Krishma, Shemitah or something.
Yeah, Krishma. That's what I'm busy with.
Is Rossler here? Rossler?
Shneur, you ever see my dad in Connecticut?
Your who?
My dad.
Where in Connecticut?
He's on the beach there. There's a beach house. There's a shliach there.
I'm from Connecticut is on the beach.
Dave, he's the shliach there. Correction.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Weird.
I'll get you the address. It's Milford.
He's in Milford? It's right next to me.
Right by the beach. There's a shliach there. He has a nice little shul there.
Yeah. I didn't know he lives there. That's so cool.
Do you know someone by the name of Gantz? His last name was Gantz. Richard Gantz. Richard.
You're asking me?
Yeah, he's from Connecticut.
You remind me of like these Israelis that think because you're from America, they're a great niece in Dallas or something.
He lives in just the same city. What city are you in?
I'm in Shelton.
Oh, okay.
Rabbi Lowy, are you related to Shneur Groden? Would you like to share a few words? Hello? Maybe not.
I think Velvel was about to speak.
Velva, I want to hear your voice. Can we hear you? You still in Washington?
Yeah.
What's cracking?
Velva, can we see your beautiful face?
Babe, say something.
Yeah, can we see your face? Where are you?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah, you see everybody?
Oh my God, what happened to your beard?
You let it out.
What happened to my beard? It got big.
Wow, you're a big boy. You're a big tata, you.
Hashem.
What's your
Proper Rossler fashion?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We're about to do bedtime. Being on the West Coast, I don't know how many of you on my time zone, but
yeah, I actually have to get a babysitter for that.
Mandy, you're busy mediating.
Look at you getting a babysitter for a Zoom call.
Absolutely. What do you think? You think we waste time over here?
Yeah, I don't know. We only have like 5 babysitters in the city.
It's to say, you talk. Take over.
I'm waiting to hear something.
I want to hear how long in the morning does it take to iron your beard straight? Well, how long does that take?
A long time. Not as long as it took Beryl and Mesivta.
Oh, no? Oh, wow. If the Mesivta, imagine what happens now with Beryl's.
No, Beryl got married. He doesn't care.
Oh, yeah?
You gotta embrace it at some point.
It's never going to change.
I was remembering something else. I was remembering Shneur memorizing everybody's credit card numbers.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
I remember the first time I had fraud and I had to get a new card. I felt a certain sense of relief. There isn't somebody who remembers it across the world.
Paris, what are you up to? Where are you?
Everybody, when someone just texted. So you should just know.
Crown Heights, I actually teach Nigotish Gimel Masifta.
No. He's a guy in a magazine.
He's the star teacher in Mesivta.
Ole Taita?
Like star teacher. Don't let parents underrate himself over here.
You know what's so interesting? I was actually thinking about this. Like, you think about all these
Shneur
rabbis.
Groden, I have to stand up. He's the star after David Levin. Anyway, continue, Mendy. Sorry.
Either way, like, you know, you see these big rabbis, like, what the hell? Where's Kaplan is going to be like the Magachir? What the hell is he? I know. He's just drinking beer together. Like, what the heck? You know?
I always only knew that Paris was chugging the beer bomb in my closet.
A kid in my class.
In Arab Shabbos. Hey, Paris?
A kid in my class comes to me the other day. He tells me that he heard from my friend that I was sitting watching the Patriots game by my friend's apartment drinking beer. I thought it was a mistake. It was somebody else.
That's a great story.
You should have told him it was a Shom Zach.
Shom Zach, we were watching the Patriots game, exactly. Like Shmuel has been watching Kobe. Anyway.
The concept.
Someone had to say it.
You know, if you think about it, I'm sure, like, you know, Gorman was the same way when he was, you know, when he was about her too. You know?
He was drinking tea.
He was English. They had different asagas.
He was drinking tea. He was not drinking beer.
It's like so funny. Like, how does that even work? Like, I guess. Yeah.
You're the shliach in Utah, Mandy.
Yeah, the head shliach.
How did that happen?
Whoa, go back, Mendy. Head shliach of Utah. What'd you do to your shver?
I'm just can't disclose the.
You just threw him out at first, huh?
He took him, he made him into a ball, he threw him away somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Coco, man. Coco.
Mendel Zaltzman, do you live in Toronto today?
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I live at, like, where in Toronto?
No, I just said that's nice. I didn't know where you were living.
He wants to know your address.
My address? 770 Chabad.
There's a lot of shluchim on the chat. Be careful.
No one's getting my address. Although if you ask Dave, I'm sure he'll give it to you very quickly. But yeah, I live in Midtown, like Eglinton and the Allen, near Yeshiva-ish, a little more south.
Walking distance.
Walking distance.
Really?
That's where the internet cafe was. That's where we opened Facebook accounts.
Yeah, a little more south.
Facebook, punked.
Wasn't that on Eglinton?
I was in Eglinton.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Same route.
Where's Shrilly?
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same. Does Shirley know about this? Is he on the group?
He's probably not on the group.
Oops. He got like a new number like a year ago.
I think Shirley got rid of WhatsApp some time ago.
No, I speak to him on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I think he got a new number.
Moshe, I can tell you're in touch with him.
Shirley's on Shlichus downtown.
In a month from now, we'll tell him that was the first one. By the next one.
Yeah. He's on Shlichus, well, not downtown. It's like Finch, I think.
Yeah, Young and Shepherd. No?
With his brother.
No, he's further out.
He has his own.
Oh, really?
I don't
think
he's like a YJP.
Shepherd now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not young. He's not by Finch.
Mendel Ginsburg, hello.
Ines. What's up,
Mendy Cohen, how many clients, how many debts you still have to collect from our class? From all your sales?
With my notebook over there, the amount of money people stole. Fromo Bernstein took probably like $800 from my wallet over there.
From your shirt pocket.
See, he even knows better where it is. You know, he knows where all the money was. Like,
You used to carry $20,000 in your shirt pocket.
By the way,
my back
rumor
pocket.
has it that finally, after 5 years on Shlichus, Mendy Cohen's pockets are finally actually empty.
Oh yeah, no, it's actually interesting. So I just had it's funny you say that. Last summer, I had basically I had a lot of tours giving donations, and we had basically my clean lady stole like $5,500 in cash from our house. So speaking about cash, either way, so we brought them to court, and long story short, we're getting back our money. But like speaking about cash,
Mendy, is this before or after the Airbnb people stole your money too?
Mendy, how you telling me she wasn't scared shitless of stealing the money? I don't understand, Mendy. In Masifta, we knew you don't go near Mendy's pocket. You get your wrist broken. And what, your cleaning lady stealing from you?
disaster.
Like, you can't handle a couple of Mormons? Mendy, what's going on with you?
Actually, this Mexican guy, like 6 foot, whatever, he's actually scared of me. We kicked him out of. It was a live-in also in the basement, so we kicked him out and whatever. So, like in the middle of the night, we just like shipped him out. Don't ask.
Mendy, only you have these stories. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah.
I say I did have the honor of hanging with Mendy Shluchim this year, and the entire extended Cohen family. It was great.
Oh, that's right.
Looking forward to hopefully doing it again.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
what are you up to?
We get to see Shneur once in a while. We teach you the Shekinah in Connecticut, sell insurance. That's it.
Sell insurance.
Sell insurance to the kids?
If they want to buy.
Laying some right.
Mendy, we want to hear your voice. Mendy Lazar. Can we see your face? Oh, Isaac Rosenfeld is here.
Hey guys.
What's up, man?
First of all, it kind of brings me back to me third wheeling your entire class, all because my uncle is your classmate. I always felt like, I don't know, I was always third wheeling your class, but it's really nice to see everybody. And it really says a lot about Shneur. You post everybody together. We're all here schmoozing, Farbrengen. And it says a lot about Shneur that he brings together everybody like this, and it should be in his good memory. Today I was on a drive from Las Vegas, and I was driving down this stretch of like 50 miles, and I had this deja vu where I was in the car with Shneur. We were mashgichim in Las Vegas during a face-off program, and he was ripping like 130 miles an hour down the stretch, and I was just like cracking jokes, singing Nagonim in the car, and it was just a memory that I had today. Sorry for the background noise.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Mendy Lazar, hello. Can we see your face? Why is he not answering?
He's like when you have a work meeting and all your employees have their cameras off and they're just not there.
I know, right? Just have to keep on, and then when you exit, it's still on.
Mendy, you're still busy emceeing.
You didn't take over. I told you take over. You can't take a job for yourself.
You don't have to take over. Just talk to us about St. George.
St. George. You want to hear everything? You should come visit, by the way. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, tell me more.
Tell you more. It's a place. I in my opinion, it's the most beautiful state in the country.
I'm saying unbiased opinion, obviously.
Obviously unbiased. I mean, I wouldn't say something that's biased. And no, really, it's there's millions of tourists here, and there's besides from maybe Alaska, maybe Bita, but
seeing from all the touring that you've done around the whole world.
Yeah, I was gonna
ask. It is very nice. I did a big road trip there a couple of years ago.
When I was here?
Yeah.
How much you watch yourself?
How you talking? I thought you considered me a friend. Okay.
I was with my family.
Okay, whatever.
We're moving. Where's what was it called? Bryce Canyon? Is that the place?
Bryce Park.
So Bryce, Zion, the Grand Canyon.
Zion. The red mountains, like the cool red rock.
Yeah.
It is the natural beauty there is unbelievable.
You know, it's funny because everyone asked me. I never went to any of these places. Everyone asked me, "Did you go?" Everything I know about it is only from people telling me, "Oh, it's first. I come here."
Great
So-
selling.
You have to go see it.
I know, but how many times you live in New York and you go visit the, Empire State Building? You know?
So basically, when all these tourists come and start telling you about all these mountains, you're like, yeah.
Of course, you have to,
In
I probably
typical
know
Mendy
more.
fashion. You're
Exactly.
selling them boats about where to go.
You're always bullshitting.
They literally think like I'm their travel agent and I'm their tour guide, and I'm like, "Hi, so how long is this distance from this distance?" Yo, open your damn computer and effing use like Google, you know? But
Is
yeah,
that what you tell them?
sometimes.
Finally, Mendy's finally starting to Farbrengen. Shkoyach. Keep going,
Exactly.
Mendy.
He dropped the MC roll.
Bro, you're excited.
God.
Oh, by the way, this is Beryl's
I
idea,
woke
just
up.
for the record.
Mendy, when I die on the Zoom, that's what you'll talk about.
Don't
Save
die
something. Save something.
Dark humor.
And Shneur.
I gotta go. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Nice seeing everyone, and we'll see you by the first year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Hopefully, this will be the beginning of many, many more.
Is there a
opportunities to
special
see
group
everybody.
that you guys are referring to for the Shirim? Is there a special group for that?
You're getting
We'll
cut
add
out.
you.
The group, yeah.
Isaac, you
I'd
can
love
third
to.
wheel all the way into WhatsApp, just like the good old days. Just kidding.
Shkoyach.
It's the Toronto group. We'll add you. I don't know who the admin is.
Very, very active group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like we also have a Shir Bays Mesivta chat for our class, but it's not so
You guys
active.
have a group?
Yeah, I'd love to partake in the Shir. What?
There's a Share Base group?
Yeah, we call it the Shir Bays Tavern.
That's what you guys called it back then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not an admin. So whoever's an admin, they can add him.
Who is that?
Isaac, I remember the first Lyft or Uber I ever took in my life was home from your wedding. I remember remembering that.
Yeah.
Calling a car with the phone, it was like mind blowing.
2015.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Good memory.
Isaac, you were probably the
Wedding.
first one to get married from everybody here, I think.
It's possible. I was zeicha to have a lot of friends at my wedding because nobody had